Hello, welcome to this tutorial on how to hack and play as Ozotto in the game Dragon Ball Z VRVS. As always, please do go back and watch the very first video on the basics of boss hacking if you haven't done that already. It just helps give a basis to this here and help you kind of understand the general processes. If you followed it to a T, you could probably still do it, but I'd recommend doing it especially if you're interested in hacking games beyond just this one. As always, you'll need two definite things when it comes to this. You'll need the game itself open, unsurprisingly, and you'll also need a hacking program such as either Art Money or Cheat Engine. As I've said before, I use Art Money. I just find it much more simple than Cheat Engine, and I just generally prefer it. Make sure, of course, when you also open it, whatever program it is, that you select the process itself, which in this case is MAME running Dragon Ball Z. In this case, you will also need a set of character values. Some games, the character list in order to hack and find the character themselves, or the one you can't play as, is much more obvious, but in this game, it's less obvious because it's the characters that you face in order throughout arcade mode, not the way that they are in the character selection screen like some games are. Other than that though, as soon as you know the values, actually finding this is quite simple. So select a character corresponding to a value and then go into the game itself, so just go into a regular match. Then search, you always search the first time you do this, and do the character themselves, so I'll search for 1. Now I've made a save state so I can instantly go back to the title screen and go back into the character selection screen. So this time I go for Trunks. And Gohan was value 01, so I searched for 01. Trunks is value 2, so I'll filter and search for value 2. Then I'll go on to Vegeta. And I'll search for 03. Okay. Go back and then I'll pick Piccolo. And when I go into the game itself, it should be that those two addresses come up with value 4 and 4. Which they do. Great. Right, okay. Ozotto is character value 05. So here you go, and you put 5 into both of these addresses, and then you make sure also to freeze them in place. Now, there's a weird thing with this, and I'll show it in just a second. If you try and load without being in two-player mode, it won't load properly. If you go into two-player mode, however, Ozotto will load properly. And that's it. If you don't start in two-player mode, he won't load. But if you do, then he will. It's really, really weird. From what I can tell, I think he's also more or less entirely automated, and he seems to glitch quite a lot as well, unfortunately. But you are, technically speaking, for all intents and purposes, playing as Ozotto. You can only sort of semi-play as him, as you can see here. He kind of does certain things on his own, but you can also somewhat control him at the same time. It's quite weird. It's a barely playable game regardless, so I wouldn't lose much sleep over it. But yeah, I mean, that's it. It's as simple as that. That's how you play as possibly the single most obscure Dragon Ball character in existence. In a game you probably wouldn't play regardless, and hell, this is the only reason to go to it in the first place. And it's as simple as that. The only problem I had really was finding out the character values, which turned out to be the order you fight characters in arcade mode, which was quite interesting, and also the fact that the game had to be started in a two-player mode for Ozotto to load. Presumably that's because Ozotto is always fought by a player, he doesn't appear otherwise, and so that must trigger something in the game's coding in order to load him. I guess it must not be present otherwise, or something of the sort. It's quite curious, don't know quite the exact reason for it, but, you know, it's something to mull over, maybe. Regardless, it's as simple as that, that's how you play as him. And that's all there really is to it. I say play, of course, that's perhaps a loose definition of the term there, but still pretty cool, and being able to do it is often more interesting than the actual act itself. Right, thank you very much for watching. Yeah, hope this all helped you out, and good luck. If there's any other games that you'd sort of like me to look into, maybe in terms of boss hacking or character hacking in general, do be sure to state. Otherwise, yeah, thanks very much for watching.